So after watching episode 7 of Berserk, I definitely wanted to do this as quick review video as possible, or just brief review as possible. Just talk about a couple things that that were on my mind during this specific episode, guys. Now, initially, this scene here where Casca, Ricket, and all of them, are of course shocked that Guts shows up, roughly like what, a day or so after being brutally beaten down by Zod, right? And initially, Guts and Casca still, there's still that tension between them, and even with that, even with the conversation here, Guts kept remembering Casca's response when she was basically blaming Guts for what happened to Griffith when they fought against Zod. And I originally thought, guys, that the tension and everything that transpired here in this scene between Casca and Guts were actually gonna continue to flow throughout the rest of the episode, but that didn't happen. That did not happen. That didn't flow. It didn't flow more further into the episode, which makes me believe that it'll probably pick back up in episode 8, maybe, or the episode after. I'm just believing that, per what I saw in this scene, that their conversation, there needs to be more talk about and discussion about, what about basically, what are on their minds and everything like that. So again, I originally thought that moving forward in the episode, that that him and Casca were gonna continue to have this tension and have that conversation that needs to be had moving forward in the episode. But again, that didn't happen. But the main focus really was centered around Griffith. It was centered around the earlier this conversations that he was having with the ministers from the day before, because time actually moved forward, because Griffith basically was saying, like, I apologize for yesterday. I know that you all wanted to have conversations with me, but again, the ministers and stuff, they were just in my face. They didn't give me any time to really breathe and rest, and they were just basically a nuisance, which is why I was basically saying, like when he was saying this, I was just like, why can't he just say, shoot fly, you bother me, like, type of thing, like, get out of my face, leave me alone. But again, the focal point of episode 7 was basically centered around Griffith, and where he was at. Also, him trying to figure out what happened after after the or during the fight with Zod, because he was knocked out, and Guts basically told him about the necklace and everything, and even they replayed that conversation that Guts had with Zod, where Zod was basically forewarning Guts to not trust Griffith himself. But of course, Guts doesn't tell Griffith this information, which I'm curious to wonder if he's going to actually do it at all, or whatever the case. But at the same time, Rickett had said something very interesting too. Like Rickett said that Griffith basically has changed since. Basically has changed within the past, like, 48 hours, 72 hours. Something different about him. He's not approachable. He is definitely standoffish. That's what Rickett was saying. So it was just something that stood out to me in episode 7 here, about Griffith, and where his mindset was. But again, at the same time, because the focal point was on Griffith, it also focused on, the conversation between him and the king. The king steps in there. He's trying to have just a regular, normal conversation. His like his number one, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but his number one is basically bashing Griffith, kind of like, and the Guts too, just basically like looking down on them, during the episode, which I hate, of course. I believe most of us all do. We despise those people who are snotty and looking down on people as if they're better than them because of the status that they have and stuff like that, or whatever, the monetary status, whatever the case may be, royalty, all of that cheese. But also with that, we get the introduction to the king's daughter, in which Griffith shows interest. From what I could tell, it seemed like Griffith's shown some interest in the king's daughter in this specific scene. Just roughly 60 seconds after this conversation, when the king steps in, and his people, and of course his daughter is back there shy and stuff. But at the same time, of course, with Griffith showing interest in the king's daughter and stuff like that, and she trips and he catches her, but of course the king's number one and steps in. He comes in and slaps Griffith in the face. And it's just one of those things, again, like I hate, because like I said, if Griffith was supposed to just let her fall, then they would have still, him and Gus would have still got blamed for the princess getting hurt when she tripped. But he was just doing what most other human beings would do, and that is, of course, catch and save somebody from falling and hurting themselves, because you don't want to trip and fall. You're not expecting to trip and fall even from walking. And the king's daughter would have fallen and scraped her knee and stuff like that, or even fell on her face, whatever the case may be. So it's just like one of those things, guys, where it's like, I just personally hate those type of people who feel like that they should, they, even during these times, that they shouldn't be touched and stuff like that. It's like, dude, like, you were getting ready to fall, like, or she was getting ready to fall. You don't want her to get hurt. She's supposed to be, the king's daughter. So why would you want her to fall on her face? So why not have anybody, whether royalty or not, step in to catch her fall and make sure that she's safe and protected. So this is one of those things in this episode that just stood out to me a lot, that I hated. But it is what it is. But episode 7 was indeed a really, really interesting episode. But at the same time, towards the end, they're getting ready to go to this castle. So they're looking to more than likely take over this castle in episode 8, which I'm gonna guess and say that they do once I sit down and watch episode 8, since I'm doing this recording after watching episode 7 before I watch episode 8. So with that, guys, that's my review of episode 7. My thoughts. What did you all think of episode 7? What did you all think of this review? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's talk about some things. But other than that, I will talk to you all next time with more Berserk. Peace, guys.